You got to be first at something, right?
I'll take it.
Yeah, you're first in my book. Anyways, guys, it's time to go into picks and bans here. Epsilon Esports absolutely destroyed game number 1. The question is will the Bronkos be able to answer the call? Do they have to worry about the Serqet? Do they have to worry about the Poseidon? Who are they going to prioritize here since they are now first pick?
Well, they're going to ban out Thor here, so they don't want Adapt and get Thor. He's also known for a very good Thor, right?
He's known for a lot.
The biggest problem, I think, with Epsilon is there's no one individual you can ban out, much like Hog Red from Season 1. Like, you can't spend a ban on Adapting's Serqet and then allow Raffer or Yaman to get these meta picks that are just really good, right?
Yeah, it's really about taking out what is going to screw up your team comp at this point.
Yeah, and Epsilon actually takes out Medusa, too.
I don't blame them for doing that. I think they were a little bit worried that Medusa might go first pick here in this one, and they said, well, you know, we don't really want to deal with it. So what's on the table here? We could see a Serqet first pick. They definitely saw how strong she was, and the Broncos are going to waste no time, grab the Serqet, option over to Epsilon Esports.
Yeah, and like, it's Sylvanus.
I forgot all about him. I thought he was just banned.
I was like, you're going to leave. That's what I said. You know, you can't spend target bans. And they didn't really target ban anyone. It's Bologna Thor. But then you leave Sylvanus open, and they grab Serqet, and that was probably what they're deciding. Do we want Sylvanus or Serqet? And I think Serqet's actually the better option for them, because Epsilon is a team that's good enough that's going to be able to abuse the opponent Sylvanus. They could very easily run a Nemesis or something like that. And actually, that's something I might want to see the Broncos pick up, is a Nemesis to try and abuse the lack of mobility coming out Sylvanus. But they're going to go for Xbalanque, so they're going to go for the late game versus late game Hunter matchup.
What I'm worried about for the Broncos was last game, all things told, they drafted a pretty early game based team. And they really didn't get started at all in the early game. I mean, we saw 1 kill out of Thanatos. So by grabbing the Serqet, they're going to have the same thing. And now you have a Ymir.
They had the early game team comp, but they weren't the aggressors. Epsilon was the aggressors, and they were able to pick up the kills basically before the Thanatos was able to get into the fights, or before the rest of the team was going to get into the fights. So they're going to go Ymir, which also a very good early game god, right? Yeah. Has a lot of base damage. I mean, his Ice Carpet hits it just chunks you.
Yep. And on top of that, I mean, Ice Carpet also helps out with the push that he's going to be going against with the Sylvanus. So in the lane, Ymir versus Sylvanus, it should be okay, but it's still going to be a huge problem for Ymir to deal with Sylvanus and Rama.
So we're going to see Epsilon take out Poseidon. They picked up Janus. They're like,
smart play.
We don't want any 100-0 potential. We would rather win in like actual team fights, not just our support, not just Sylvanus getting out of position, right? And it's going to be in a wheel expand. That's probably a target ban by the Broncos.
Yeah. They're probably like, well, we saw what Adapting did here. We don't want to... I think they're afraid of the mobility. And then instead they leave out Hunbats. So Hunbats, I feel like we say fear no evil a bajillion times in game, but we also see just that's how amazing this god is. Every jungler has a Hunbats in their tackle box, and he just destroys.
There's a couple gods in this game that no matter what you draft, you can always fit them into your team comp. Athena is one of them. Hunbats, Thor. These gods that bring a ton, not so much Ra.
You don't think so?
I think he's good, but he's not I'd say Agni more than Ra.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense.
These gods that bring good single target burst and high AoE burst as well, and a lot of utility. And it's going to be, well, Ra picked up and Hercules. So there's a lot of setup for this Ra, though. He has a lot of abilities on Ymir, Hercules, and Serqet that are going to allow him to set up for the Searing Pain to try and burst someone.
So the question now Epsilon has to face here is who they go ahead and pick to go up against Hercules, right? I mean, who do you really want to deal with that? Do you want to have the tier?
I mean, Ninja Demi ran through Linux with tier last game. He was out-rotating him. Even though Linux had the teleport, he was still there. No, it's going to be a Bastet.
Okay.
So we could see Hunbats or Bastet solo. Both work. Yep. Typically, you'll see Hunbat solo more often, and it also allows Bastet, very good at early Gold Furies, right? The Cats are able to tank up Gold Fury and do a ton of damage to it and allow them to get that early lead if the Broncos don't recognize it and are out of position.
So Epsilon Esports, they have Janus, so they instantly have complete mobility of the entire map, which the Broncos does have to be wary about. But looking at the Broncos, I mean, Ra's going to be very hard to deal with, just depending on what he builds. I mean, out of Europe, we always see, the Lotus Crown more utility-based, so he's very hard to kill, as well as giving protections to his teammates. And then you have Ymir, who just every level gets 104 health. I mean, he's a tanky beast.
Yeah, I mean, he has one of the highest scaling healths in the game. Athena also up there. She scales at 100 health per game, per level, and you're going to see him go in ward. I don't think they're looking for a fight, but actually Epsilon may catch someone out here. They're actually looping underneath. No. They're going to throw their own ward there at the mid camps.
So if you were wondering what was going to happen with the Bastet and the Hunbats, Ninja Dimmy will actually be bringing Bastet into the solo lane. Now, Hercules, he doesn't like going against people with slows, so maybe that's the thought process behind the Bastet? Ish?
I think Bastet is harder to lock down for Hercules. With Hunbats, he only has one jump, right? Bastet has the jump back and forth. It's iffy, right?
Well, we will find out here in just a matter of time. Will we see the invade come out of them as well? Probably not, just because Hunbats and Bastet have started off both with Hand of the Gods, and they're really just kind of keeping their eyes open.
I know what it is. I don't know why I didn't think about this before. I just haven't seen this matchup too much. Because of how slow overhand smashes by Hunbats, Linux, if he's able to actually driving strike it out and interrupt it.
Yep.
Bastet, her Razor Whip is able to clear the whole or hit the whole wave, and it's not interruptible.
Well, speed buff will be going to Serqet as they will be moving over to the blue buff as well. So both sides on this will be going relatively fast since they start off with both Hand of the Gods, which is the meta, which is why we don't see mages really in the solo lane. The last time I can remember that happened was one yesterday, and then Divios in the spring finals, right? He brought Janus out.
And he got abused, right? He did a lot late game, but he was just like abused early game. It's just hard for a mage. There's not a lot you can do against a bruiser, especially if they get an early lead.
Well, Bastet jumps in, jumps out. The most annoying thing, the Mez will hit as well, and we will see it be completely even. We will see whether or not Serqet will stay in this lane or not, and the knockup will happen. He's going to get driving strike back here. This might be first blood. Nope, Hunbats has to jump.
Yeah, he's just going to jump away there. And normally we'll see early rotations from junglers, but neither are able to really clear out this wave long enough. You know, I was watching the minimap a little bit. Jermaine and Tattleson were actually out pushing Iraffer and Emilito, which is what you want to do. But the problem is, if you can't kill them, if you don't have kill potential, Iraffer on that Sylvanus is just going to heal up all the damage with his whips. That's why it's really hard. Actually, Iraffer, I don't think they have the burst to kill him, though. This is just wasting their abilities, and they're going to take return poke, and then it's all going to get healed up by Iraffer.
Yeah.
So
now Lennox is going to be low here as he just retreats instantly back to his tower. Yeah, Sylvanus is just, he's got everything. He has the dream support kit. They're going to come frozen here, and, you know, they're still just target. You can see how much abilities they've wasted on Iraffer, and look at his health.
He has, and Tattleson has no potions anymore. He wasted all the potions he had early on trying to poke, and it's just not going to work. Oof. It's just not going to work. You either have to kill a Sylvanus or you don't try and outpoke.
Oh, that's good. Under the tower, the jump will happen as well, and the tower will take him out. Lennox will get the first blood here, putting the Bronkos on the board. They finally started off a little bit early here as well, so getting the Herc started is great.
I want to see him back and fight at mid-Harpies. They need to keep up this aggression. Lennox has the lead now, right? There's no reason for him to stay in this lane unless he's just trying to not rotate at all, because that's something I think a Hercules at mid-camps could spell a kill or two, and that could lead to a Gold Fury.
Well, the cripple will get denied here. Ymir, he's going to get pulled. Will they have the burst damage to take him down? They have the archers on him as well, and they're just going to back this one out because you can see a rotation coming out here. This is going to be Revel on Serqet, and he's just really came over here to make sure there was no engagement coming out of that duo lane of Epsilon. Pretty smart play. Yeah,
these mids are going to be a big question. Okay, yeah.
They're just not really.
They're gonna be able to. Yeah, they're gonna be able to grab them. No one's set up for rights yet. Oh, Janus gonna portal through. It looks like we'll just trade them out most likely. Yeah, that's gonna be it.
Now, Soulstone into Lost Artifact on this Ra. What is he going to be going for? Is he gonna just get a Doom Orb? Is he gonna go full damage?
I say go Doom Orb, man. That's my personal thing. But Chronos Pendant is also very good.
It's amazing.
Any god that heals, Chronos Pendant is very effective on, or any god that has high utility like Janus, you're going to see the effectiveness. Oh, just barely.
That's such a good jump.
Just perfectly timed. He heard the blink come through, and he jumped just in time.
So they will stop that engagement from happening here. As we look at the boxing match, Xbalanque, he's a ticking time bomb, right? Eventually, Xbalanque will hit a time in this game where he can just kill everyone. But right now, that's not the case.
But it's Rom also. See, here's the thing about Rom is he has a much better mid-game because of Astral Barrage, because of that semi-global where he can go up into the air and he can rain down his bombs and do a lot for a team where he doesn't actually have to full rotate, or he doesn't have to spend the time to full rotate, right? He can just walk a little bit into the jungle and he's able to snipe out mid-camps and be a part of his team. But Xbalanque also, into that regards, has Darkest of Nights, which is one of the... Well, it doesn't do any damage. It's like a Janus portal or a Janus ultimate where it brings a lot of utility to the team, basically blinding out the opponents.
Mystical Mail will be getting rushed here by Lennox, which will put Bastet in quite the precarious situation, as she will have 0 kill potential from that point on.
Yeah, I mean, unless Lennox outplays, he's not going to be able to be dealt with at all.
Yeah, you can see him trying to line it up, waiting on his jungler to split that experience with as well, just trying to get him ahead as best as possible. Speed buff going to Adapting, blue buff going to the Bastet, aka Ninja Dimmy, as the rotation will hit. We're about 5 minutes in. We are 1 minute away from the next set of Harpies coming up, which normally spells a little bit of disaster for one team. 6 minutes is kind of when everything opens up.
Yeah, these. If you don't fight the first set of mid-Harpies, you might fight the second one. Actually, Linux, it looks like he has no mana.
Yeah, the cats are going to be on. The slow will be applied as well.
The kill potential. Oh, there it is. Yeah, he's going to grab it. Yeah, okay.
Yeah. And plus, the cats take the aggro of the tower as well. So Bastet really didn't have to worry about anything. As we move into the dual lane side of things, Adapting. He hasn't gotten started yet, but he's looking to aggress. He's got Fear No Evil in the backside. Did he see him with the third-person view is the question.
I think he did. Yeah, he caught him out. But this is going to be a 4-on-3. If Epsilon...
Man,
I don't know if
this is going to be tough.
Here.
The Blink's going to hit as well. Frost is going to take out 2. Raw's going to hit a snipe as well. Adapting still has Fear No Evil. The wall's going to hit. Ymir ultimate comes down. Not able to get a kill, though. Janus comes a little bit late, and they're going to try to turn this. We see Rama go to the sky. Can he get it? He needs one more, and he's able to predict it, but not able to get the kill, as now they will just give this one up and say, well,
don't do it,
we lost one. It's okay.
Don't do it, Yaman.
Look at him. He's in so much trouble. Oh, nope. It's Janus. And then, oh my god, look at that rotation coming out of Ram. He was really aggressive there, trying to poke him down. He can see him low. That's the worst part about being a hunter. You're like, oh, if I just get one crit.
Well, I mean, they don't have crit yet,
yeah,
right?
I know, but...
I mean, unless you're Artemis, where you have base crit. Oh, but... Epsilon, recognizing that all of Bronkos back, is going to pull the Gold Fury.
This could be really bad here. There's going to be one. The Blink will come in from Raffer. Boulder's going to connect. That will stop this Gold Fury from happening. The Bronkos, they're doing a great job so far. They don't have a huge lead, but a lead nonetheless.
Yeah, I love that call from Epsilon. It obviously turned sour, but I think that was the right call. You recognize that 3 members of the Bronkos backed in left lane. Yep. You immediately pull gold. They didn't have a sentry on it, but they took a gamble, right? And all props to the Bronkos there, as Clyde is in a lot of trouble.
That's one dead Raw.
He got body blocked. That's one of those things where you just rage. You're like, seriously, I got body blocked by those cats?
I hate those cats.
It's a lot of luck dependent. Oh, great pull coming out from Raffer.
Yep, and now Hunbats will rotate as well. The Sylvanus ult will hit. The overhand smash is good. Adapting gets his kill of the game, and now the pressure will start to swing as Epsilon takes the kill advantage.
Perfectly placed ultimate, perfectly placed Fear No Evil by Adapting, putting it right in between the Ymir to force him back towards his team, towards his own tower, and it forced the Xbalanque Germain away from them.
So... still going to see this as Serqet will just tag up the minions in the middle so she gets that experience, as she will rotate over here. She's just going to see if anyone's doing the Gold Fury, and she realizes, okay, no one's on it. Okay, we're okay. And the teleport from Hercules will come. They're trying to make sure this Gold Fury does not get started up.
Yeah, Lennox going to rotate in, but they're not doing anything off of it. Yeah. And Bastet's going to get a free wave, push into the tower, and Lennox is going to have to rotate back right.
So walk me through this thought process here of what we're seeing out of the Raw. So we have CDR boots, and then he starts with level 1 of Spear the Magus?
He's gonna. You need Pin online early. Like, Pin's really good just to get the base physical or the base magical defenses down. He doesn't have a lot of power, though. Like you said, he has 90 magical power at 8 minutes, and if he's going Spear the Magus, he'll only be at about 140 by the time that item is completed, and that's not going to be for another 5-6 minutes. He's going to have low magical power, so he's definitely going a more healing-oriented build. Yeah. I'm assuming we're going to see a Lotus Crown come after that, just for the tankiness and protections for his team. He's going to let Linux and Revel be doing the majority of the damage in these mid-game team fights.
So 9 minutes. Next set of Harpies will be coming up in about 20 seconds here, as we can start to see Epsilon just kind of take the ground here. Emilito will be pushing up. He'll take a poison dart, but he's not worried about it as he has Raffer to heal him up as well. You can see adapting rotate as well as Yaman. They are looking for a fight over here, but they're also looking to start up this Gold Fury. Do they have the ability to do this by themselves? Raffer will be able to come over as well to tank some of the damage, but he is going to be followed, and they're going to have to send this back.
I mean, they're doing a lot to it. But look at that. Cat's once again on that Raw. Is he going to get picked up? Oh, yeah. He's way out of position. He's going to fall there.
Well, Serqet's on the backside. She's got one singled out here. And will they have the follow-up there? He's going to hit the smallest portal in the world, Ninja Demi, and he will live to see another day. Mid-Harpies will be going to the Bronkos, at least on the left side, as now Epsilon will retreat and try to come up with a new plan of attack.
Epsilon, I mean, look at how even this game is, right? 900 experience difference, nothing, 94 gold. It's nothing, right?
Negligible. It's pointless. So
Do
now
Broncos
Lennox
need to make something happen, I think, very soon.
Yeah, I agree. But the question is what? I mean, their team fights they've been in, the only ones they've won is when they had the severe advantage. In an even team fight or in a counter game situation, they've been losing them.
Epsilon has been the aggressor all game, and the Broncos really need to embrace that fact that they need to be the aggressors, right? Especially with the Serqet. You saw how adapting was the aggressor last game with it, just really abusing the fact is actually we're going to see another gank in mid.
Fear No Evil is going to hit as well. Rebel is going to be forced completely out of this one. There's no follow-up potential, but at least they got him weak for the time being, as Hunbats will go back as well.
They are doing everything to try and get this Gold Fury.
They are.
They're putting a ton of pressure on dual lane and mid, and even if they don't get kills, they're just trying to get any little advantage so they can force this big objective.
Man, that Celestial Beam really hurt a lot. Astral Arrows do go through Ymir walls, so Rama is able to poke him out. And now this is going to be the dance here. There is 5 members from the Broncos on and around the Gold Fury side of things, so there's a lot of experience just kind of being wasted in the solo lane, but it's okay. They know what's on the line here. Breath is going to hit Raffer as well. Instantly, he takes to the skies. Emilito, he's got the pull as well on Ymir. This should be one dead Frostbound Giant, and he needs one more. He takes him out, rolls forward, gets another one. That's a double kill. That's a Gold Fury as well. They don't have a hand 3 online. They should be able to get this completely uncontested.
I said they needed to be the aggressor, but that is not the aggression they needed. They need to do winning fights, not losing fights. And that's what Epsilon's been doing this whole game, right? Is they're not big enough. Oh, hold on, let's see. All right, Epsilon will secure this. Epsilon is not big enough to dive towers, right? Yep. And what they're doing is they're trying to force the Broncos to fight them because they're the better team, right? They're going to win these bigger 3-on-3, 4v4 engagements. They're just more skilled. And the Broncos are like, nah, we're not going to do that. We're not going to do that until finally the Broncos goes in, but it's in a bad part of the map where the rest of Epsilon is able to rotate in, and then they get a Gold Fury after winning the fight.
Now, Bastet, she actually doesn't decide to go over into the solo lane to get the experience. Adapting and Raffer will be there. And all things told, I mean, Adapting, he's one level above Serqet. He's about 500 gold as well, so he's got the Jotuns finished. And the Jotuns is the first power spike for both of these junglers. But the next thing is the Deathbringer. And at this rate, Hunbats will have that much quicker than the Serqet if he decides to go into that.
I would imagine, typically, you're going to see one of 2 items coming out from Hunbats after Jotuns. It's either going to be the Magi's because either A, you're big enough to deal enough damage that you need, and you just want that extra protection to stay alive, or B, you're behind so much that you're just getting abused and you need the Magi's to even stay alive. If you're even, you're usually going to go to the Deathbringer, right? Or it's the Deathbringer where it's, I'm doing a lot of damage, I want to do even more. Because if I can RNG a crit for 50% and hit someone for a quarter or a third of their life this early on, I'm going to win the fight every time.
Well, Emilito trying to get the boxing match here. The cripple's going to hit as well. That is going to be Xbalanque ultimate, and Emilito, who's going to get his kill stolen by Yaman with the snipe, turns around. That's going to be Tattleson. Tattleson, you're not going to live much longer. Down he goes. Hercules has the rotation. Another cripple barely off the mark there as Yaman will hit him with the Unstable Vortex, gets through the portal as well. He has to play safe here because his beads were burned by the Ymir, as now Adapting's trying to steal this. Fear No Evil's going to be good. Clyde in a lot of trouble. Overhand smash will secure that kill, and he's still able to get out of there. God, that monkey is slippery.
Great preemptive beads. He recognized that that's exactly what Linux was going to do, is he was going to try and driving strike, stun him out, instantly hits the beads. Before, I don't even think I don't even think Linux had hit the ability first. I think he had just beads, knowing exactly what Linux was going to do. He's going to try to defend this tower, and he may be able... No, he's not even going to be able to. He's going to take so much poke. Ooh. The tower is low enough, right? Like, he may be able to get something off of this.
Yeah. Oh, God, Emilito. I think he has 40 health. Maybe.
He doesn't have a lot.
And look at Xbalanque. You can see him. You can see the aggression and the desperation coming out of them. The blink comes as well. The wall's going to hit. But there's no follow-up here from Ymir. It's finally Serqet's going to be there. And now Raffer, yes, he will get Mez and Last Breath, all for a support. They want this kill. They want to get it snowballing here as Revel will be able to get that kill. But it's 4-11. A lot burned on a support.
Yeah, but Bastet and Humbats were able to get the tower in right lane while this all was going on. And look at this golden XP difference. 6,200 experience, 4,200 gold. The gold, not so much, but the experience really starting to make known. It was pretty dead even, right, until the last couple minutes. And that's where we're going to see some big differences in levels. Adapting 2 levels above the enemy jungler, and Yaman 2 levels above the enemy mid laner.
So, approaching 15 minutes here. Epsilon Esports having a commanding lead yet again in this series. They've looked so dominant. And yes, if you were wondering, well, the Rama forced into the ultimate here. Let's see if he'll be able to turn this out. He sees the Ymir, so he's definitely a little bit upset. He's going to try to roll through. Barely misses the portal, and finally he will go through. It was all playing in his head. Yaman will get the one, and that is communication and teamwork at its finest. Yeah,
poorly timed by Tattleson there, really. Like, if he had detonated that half a second earlier, it seemed like he was trying to get the full charge off the Ymir ult.
Yeah.
But Yaman, or excuse me, Emilito was able to roll out just in time to avoid that.
And he missed it too, right? Like, that was the worst part. He was like, oh, I'm just off the mark. And if you guys were wondering how this Bastet would be doing here, well, she's 5-1-0 going against the Hercules. The pull will be good as well. Tattleson will help that one out as he goes back to the sidelines for a 30-second wait.
Yeah, and now we see Obsidian Shard online for Clyde, but, I mean, he just has no damage. 135 magical power. He's not hitting hard. He doesn't have Lotus Crown to augment his heal. Clyde's in a bad spot.
So this is one of the hardest parts in Smite currently, is the fact that Ymir is so far behind Sylvanus that they can just burst him down.
Yes.
Completely. He's not tanky. Sure, he has a decent amount of health, but that's really it. I mean, he's got Traveler shoes.
He's fast when he's not in combat.
Yeah, he's doing great out of combat.
Speaking of that, with how good Traveler shoes are, we see Iraffer not go for them. He goes for, this is a very Jeff Hinla-esque build, right? He builds the boots one, maybe, and then instantly into Winged Blade for the movement.
Yeah.
And so Raffer just does not even care about the experience in gold. He knew he was going to be ahead to begin with here as he tries to gank this Xbalanque, and actually a big engagement over here.
Look at this grouping here. Emilito is just going to take out the Serqet instantly. Takes to the sky. 1-2. Yaman gets another kill here on Janus. And now Hercules, he will just be able to run away here. 2 members over here. Look at the unstable vortex. Just deplete Xbalanque. And now the jump comes in. Tattleson goes down again. And this is the problem. He's just not tanky in these team fights. And I don't think that's going to change anytime soon. I mean, they can't get their foot in the door at all.
Now, it's just like game 1. They need to stop taking these fights outside of objectives, outside of defending towers, outside of defending gold tiers. They're just getting picked one at a time. And this has been all game, really, right? Mm-hmm. All right, Jermaine gets picked. Bad, right? But then Ymir's rotating in to help him. He gets picked because Jermaine just died and now he's alone.
For sure.
All right, the rest of the team is rotating, and then it's Raw getting picked on the rotation. It's just one after the other, and Epsilon is doing a fantastic job of abusing. Right there, again, Linux. He teleports into a ward, but he's alone. Where's he going to go?
Yep. He's in a lot of trouble here. Boulder's going to hit, but he's just, it's a matter of time before he gets taken out here. Bunch of astral arrows on the ground, and now they know that Hercules is down, so that's going to be one. Now, the one thing I do want to point out is the fact that Janus actually went into a Divine Ruin. Even though they have this humongous lead, he's like, well, if there's a chance that Raw can get online and I have to deal with Hercules, I want to stop all of the healing possible.
They have damage elsewhere that he doesn't need to worry about being this burst. And Janus, so he actually expected for this to happen. He's sitting at 3rd, right?
Ooh.
But he has really high base numbers on Unstable Vortex, and that's why we can see Janus's go full cooldown. It's not just for the utility, but you see he had already planned for the Divine Ruin. Instead of grabbing the typical CDR boots, he went power boots. He's like, I'm going to take the loss of damage from not going, a different damage item. I'm going to put them on power boots instead of the CDR.
And he also had time to kind of make that change to his build as well. I'm sure going into the game, he was like, well, I can do a couple of different things. But as soon as Bastet got rolling, he goes, well, she's going to be completely out of control. I mean, he's 8-1-1, getting ready to go with the Titan's Bane. Here comes a boxing match here. Astro Arrow's on. He's going to be forced to ultimate. Beads are going to be there as well. He's going to try to turn on this. Then he waits for the last second. Very, very smart play. Waiting to see it. Misses that one. And now he's going to roll. Picks up an arrow. Will he be able to win it? Nope.
No, but there's 3 in left, and they're doing Fire Giant. Like, that's, I mean... does Raffer not have... He either didn't have Hog or he's saving. Can we take a look at Raffer real quick? Can you click on him?
Well, Raffer, you can see him. Right, you don't need to see that. He didn't have Hog.
Okay.
Yeah.
I got you. Leave me alone, Scott.
I got you, buddy.
I only did camera work for forever.
That's why I was like, well, I'm definitely busting his balls on this one.
The second I saw it. Yeah. But yeah, so, I mean, Emilito, I don't know if that was on purpose or if he just has the Snoopy syndrome. Snoopy does this a lot, too. He's just like, I'm bigger. I'm just going to push this lane. But at the very least, it forced 3 over to his side. Yeah. Free uncontested Fire Giant.
Yep. Teleport level 3 will be on for Hercules here, but I mean, he doesn't even have his Runeforge hammer. He has a Mystical Mail, Power Boots, and that's it. He is severely behind. Look at this. He's down almost 3,000 gold, and he's also down 4 levels to a Bastet.
The biggest thing here is how big this Bastet, as we see a Bastet get a kill, right? So Bastet has has some of the highest scaling in the game. All of her three abilities, her jump, her slow, and her Razor Whip, all have 100% scaling, and that's why we see a lot of the Transcendence picked up, because it scales so well off that huge physical power burst. And now that she's 4 levels above anyone else on the Bronkos, her combo is hitting for about 60 to 70% of their life. The jump in, get the bleed off, and there's nothing they can do. It's just free poke.
Yep. Well, last game, the Fire Giant was all Epsilon needed to end the game. Very, very similar fashion here. Xbalanque and Ra will try to hold this tier 2 as Ymir will go ahead and rotate into the middle of the map. How can they hold? I mean, they have to be wary of Sylvanus, who can blink in. Yeah, just give up the tower. It's not worth it. It's just a tier 2, man.
No one's in position either, and I think that's the bigger thing. And Epsilon's playing this perfectly. They're like, the only way we lose is if we get greedy diving a Phoenix. So let's push up all the towers and then push up all 3 lanes, and then we split the Bronkos.
Yep. So they're trying to hold this tier 2. Finally, we're seeing the grouping out of the Bronkos. And now Fear No Evil's going to hit. They're going to just take down the Ymir because he's not tanky at all. Avoids the knock up there from Hercules. Hercules gets pulled. He gets knocked up himself. He driving strikes someone into the wall. Serqet's going to live barely as Emilito takes to the sky. Not able to finish that. Unstable Vortex will hit Herc at the outside, though, which will send him all the way back to the fountain, which means this Phoenix is now theirs.
Yeah, and only 2 left to defend this, or 4 left to defend this.
Oh, right? they actually have to be careful.
Yeah, iRaffer, they've been taking a lot of poke, and this is what the Bronkos have to do. They have to defend a Phoenix as a team, but they've taken a lot for this. I almost think they should give this up, go heal up, and then just come and defend a different one. Because if they get too... No, it looks like Epsilon's going to back off.
I think Epsilon's just going to push this right side here. Actually, no, they're going to go back and buy. They said... Well,
safe play.
Yeah, very
safe.
I like it. Yeah. Yep. That's exactly what they needed to do there. If they would have stayed, that's throw city completely. You can't do that.
There's a risk of throwing, right? It's like, this is for the summer SPL spot. The Bronkos are doing a good job of defending, and that's just what they have to do.
Yep. So now we will see the Bronkos. They're going to try to farm up the best they can, try to get some kind of items on the line, but I mean, if you don't even know Smite, you can just look at the item difference and tell who's winning. Look at this net worth. 4 members of Epsilon just are in the top. That spells disaster.
Can we take a look at Golden Hand real quick? All right, looking at these builds, Rama is actually... Okay, Rama is barely ahead, right? So right now, Xbalanque is about even in builds. He needs to get his executioner line before the next fight. And he's only about at 1K behind, and how he made that up, basically, is by not fully investing into actives. He has 600 less gold spent into beads than Emilito does, so that's really going to help him out there, being even with the other hunter.
So now, in the mid lane here, they're going to try to shove it up, as now we are just going to watch Hunbat just kind of push straight through here. Epsilon, they're layering the map perfectly. They know exactly where they want to go. They want to go in the mid, and they also want to go into the far right. And now, I mean, Fire Giant's up in 38 seconds. They're probably not going to look to push up at all. They just want to shove the minion wave, so then the Bronkos can kind of waste their time with that. But it also gives them a ward in their own way. right? Because if they go through the mid lane, then you see them with the minions. It's like, oh,
exactly.
That's where they are. They're mid.
And another thing too, right, is Epsilon will take this uncontested, but if the Bronkos come, they're going to fight. Like, they're going to drop Fire Giant instantly and look to pick, much like they did with Hercules before.
Yep. So now, Fire Giant just waiting to be respawned here.
5 seconds.
The question is, will the Broncos try to contest this, and if they can?
No. I think they fight under Phoenix. They did it last time. If they contest it, someone's just going to die, and then they're going to fight down a man, right? And so they have to know what's happening.
This is the right play, though.
Yes, 100%. This is exactly what both of these teams need to do, but they might drop ship in.
Yep, they're going to go straight into this one. Look at that. Just the Razor Whip alone is going to send Raw packing.
Yeah, look at that.
He got halved. And now they're going to try to slow this down here, and he's just going to try to run away. Oh, God.
I'm done.
Right.
I'm done.
Yeah, right.
Emilito is a god.
Throw it in the montage, boys. Cue, what was that old-fashioned montage song they used? It was like Linkin Park. Closer to the edge. Now here comes the siege here. Middle Phoenix is going to be online. They're going to knock up the Ymir. Ymir's going to get pulled as well. Xbalanque ultimate will hit. He triggers his own ultimate, but now it is just a matter of seconds before he dies. Xbalanque forced completely out of this fight. He will now get dove. Hercules, down you go as well. Serqet comes in. Last breath put on, but you're in a world of trouble. Look at the pounce.
Just the jump alone.
Just destroyed it. And now you get the forced beads out as the last second here, as now Epsilon, they queue up onto the Titan, and in a matter of seconds, they will be looking to take game number 2, and they do so. Wow.
Yep.
I'm saying wow because of the Rama ultimate, by the way.
Okay.
But the Broncos, they haven't been able to answer anything of Epsilon. They got first blood here, but that was it.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of what we expected with the series in total. How we've seen the first 2 games is Epsilon is way too strong to be in the Challengers Cup. They won every single game. They had one really nice play, Linux really outplaying Ninja Dimmy, but then he got nothing past Ninja Dimmy after the first blood.
Yep, we're going to go ahead and take a look at the first blood right now here and see it here. So, as you can tell, we weren't really sure what was going to happen with this Herc versus Bastet, but the one thing's for sure is if you get pulled and driving straight into the tower, you're probably going to die before level 10.
There really wasn't much. That wasn't really on Ninja Demi, right? It was, right? But that's always the fear of Hercules in the solo lane, is that he can combo you under tower, and Ninja Demi was at like 70% life, right? Like, what are you going to do? You messed up, just barely.
So swinging into the bracket side of things here, guys, keep in mind this is a best of 5. So Epsilon just needs to win one more game. The Broncos, though, if yesterday can tell us anything, is that the comeback stories are always alive. The Broncos, their backs against the wall. Kevin, what do the Broncos need to do in order to take this game?
They need to not... So they were very scared. I mentioned it in that game, right? Is that Epsilon were constantly putting pressure on them. They wanted them to fight, but the Broncos were scared. They kept backing off to their tower until finally Broncos engaged on that dual lane side, but it was the wrong timing, right? They need to find the aggression. They need to play, I don't want to say Epsilon's game, but they need to take on Epsilon's style and force something early. They're obviously they're not as skilled, right? That's just what it's going to come down to. So they're going to have to really look to try and play that aggressive early style and turn Epsilon for a loop almost.
Yeah, well, guys, we're going to hop to a quick commercial break. When we come back, will Epsilon clinch SPL berth, or will we go into game number 4? Stay tuned.